Welcome back to Cedar Porch Homestead. I'm JR, and we've been getting a lot of questions here lately about everything that we're able to kind of do on our half-acre residential lot. So I thought today's a great day. It's a beautiful day, blue skies, awesome early spring day, that we actually get to walk around and show you exactly what we got going on here on our residential lot. So we take all our kitchen compost and we stop right here in the shop because this is where I have my worms.
I got worms.
I beg your pardon?
Now this is a tower setup for these worms. Now we started with 1,000 worms that we got from Uncle Jim's. I'll leave a link below for him because we have found that the red wigglers, the composting worms that we get from them, have been some of the best that I think are out there. And the reason why we use the red wiggler composting worms is because they are ideal for composting kitchen scraps. Now we started with 1,000 worms, which is about a pound. And when they are fed, they can actually eat about a pound of compost a day. They don't stay at 1,000 worms. Those guys find their own little relations and dating pool and marriages and all the other good stuff. So now we have a colony of several thousand in here. They're creating some amazing vermicompost. I have actually 3 trays that I need to harvest this week. Maybe I'll make a video about that. If you're interested, leave a comment below if you would like to see more about vermicomposting. So we just bring our coffee filters, apple cores, salad ends, just pretty much anything that you could think to compost, and these guys knock it out and create some amazing stuff that we top dress our garden with. And well, we actually do some seed starts here in the shop too, using the vermicompost mixed with some garden starts, and it gives our plants a really great nutritious start right here under the lights under this window. So anything that doesn't come to the worms, as far as compostable materials, kitchen scraps, garden scraps, anything like that, if it doesn't go to the worms, then it goes right here to the chickens. Now, the way we have our chickens set up is in an enclosed run. We are in a residential lot, so we don't free range our chickens. We make sure that they are enclosed, they're protected. We've got some videos as well on how we built this coop and why we made it the way it is, but their whole purpose, other than generating eggs, is to create compost. I bring kitchen scraps, I bring yard waste, I bring leaves, I bring hay that's left over from our goats that I'm about to show you. Now, the goats did have a purpose. We were going to use them for dairy goats. However, turns out we have a wonderful raw milk source that we really like, cow's milk. And we didn't use our goats for the milk that we thought we were going to use them for, so we got rid of the nannies. Now we have what I like to call some hay wasters right here behind me. And, well, they're really not good for much, but they're fun to play with, and they're just pets now. But the hay that they waste, their droppings, all that is actually part of our composting system as well. We take all that trash hay that they pull out and don't use, and we use that in the chicken run behind me. We also take their droppings that they leave in the pen. Occasionally we will scrape those up, and I'll put those in our giant compost that I'm about to show you. So as a side note, if you're interested in a way of putting treats really close to your animals, we have this Russian comfrey right here behind me that we have planted right here along our chicken run. Now, we have done our best, and I'm talking about our best, to make sure that we kill this stuff off because we just don't do anything with it. It will not die. It will freeze and it will come back. It will go through a drought and it will come right back. And the great thing about it, it is really, really protein rich. The birds and the goats love it. Told you, they love it. All right, before I show you our big compost that we just put together, we have one other stop to make, and that's right here we have bunnies. Now, the bunnies that we went with are called Tamuk or composite bunnies. We did that because they are specially bred to hold up to our South Texas heat, because here in South Texas, it gets very, very hot during the summer, and these guys actually do extremely well. And they also have pretty good sized litters. They meat out well because they are a meat producing rabbit that we use. And well, we've been extremely happy with them. They do really well. And not only do they provide our family with meat, as with everything else, it's all about creating good soil. And the way these guys do that, rabbits create what's called cold compost. Now, their manure can go directly on the garden. We choose not to do that because there is a lot of hay mixed in, there's some seed mixed in with some of the stuff that we feed them. So we take that and we put it in our compost as a filler, as a way of adding good organic matter to that, and it breaks down extremely well to make good soil. So our breeding program is with 3 does and 1 buck right now. So we have our bucket right here in this 4-unit apartment that I built for them. We've got 1 doe that we just weaned her babies off. I'll show those here in a second. I just showed you the one that has her babies still with her. They will wean off here in a few weeks. And we just added this young lady here. Now, she is not a Tamuk. She is a New Zealand that I got from a buddy of mine. We're trying to see, just playing around with a new doe to see if her offspring grow a little faster, if she has bigger litters. We're just trying something different, but she will actually get her nesting box tomorrow because she's been bred about 26 days ago. Directly behind my rabbits is where we have our 3-bin compost system. Now, I only have a door on the first bin because that is what we have filled up first. I'll be putting doors on the second bins here very shortly. Now, we put everything in this compost. We put the rabbit droppings, we put the goat manure, some excess hay, we put our chicken coop clean outs in there, we put some of the chicken run stuff in there. Everything goes in the compost because this is the pump station of our backyard homestead. This is what generates all the great soil for the garden. This is where we take all our waste, and instead of just getting rid of it, we make it into something. So we generate literally a ton of wonderful compost here in our backyard each and every year. Now, this is a system I just built. We don't know exactly how well it's going to work. We have an aerating pipe right there in the middle, and that is so that it can get good air. If it's dried out, we can put a water hose on that to make sure that compost is getting the water it needs to help break it down. So we will be harvesting that pretty quickly, probably in the next few months, because I have a feeling that's going to break down very quickly with all the nitrogen that we process from our chickens, from our grass clippings, from leaves, all that good stuff. Now, one of our new additions here on our backyard homestead that we're not 100% sure how they are going to fit in just yet are these quail for my daughter. Now, the whole purpose behind the quail was to get something that's going to obviously produce some eggs, but we were going to incubate those to create some meat source as well. They haven't laid any eggs yet. We're hoping that that is imminent, days away. They are about 11 weeks old. So anyone out there that's watching this that has some experience with quail, these are Coturnix, Faro, Jumbo quail. We thought they were going to start laying eggs between 6 and 8 weeks. It's been 11 weeks, no eggs. So if you have any tips or tricks, please leave a comment below. We would love to hear what your thoughts are on these guys to make sure that we're going to be producing some good eggs. So I've been talking over and over about all the great soil that we've been trying to create, and where does all of that go? Well, it goes right here in our garden. Right now, where we are in South Texas, we have absolute trash for soil. So to plant directly into our ground just doesn't make a whole lot of sense. So we have tried a way of doing a back to Eden garden approach that we've added wood chips and such to the ground because we're trying to make better soil. But until that soil is improved and we can start directly sowing and getting good fruits and vegetables out of our soil, we have used these raised planter boxes, and we use the soil that we generate and the compost we generate throughout these other processes to go here in the garden, and that supplements a lot of our table fare. So we are generating quite a bit of our own food here. Now we're kind of at a transition point right now to where we do have some good lettuces and such, but we are coming into our spring garden right now. So we've got some tomatoes that I just planted. We've got the salsa garden and some other things that we're trying this year. And we're gonna see how this year's garden goes. Now, my daughter actually started her flower garden, which we think is extremely important for our garden because it's going to draw in a lot of pollinators. So she has her dahlia beds here that are about to start blooming, her marigolds, and some other flowers that she has brought in. Our strawberries are doing pretty good right now. We haven't gotten any strawberries yet, but the plants are looking pretty good. Now, what are we trying to do in our yard? How are we trying to produce good soil, good holistic practices, but here on a half acre? Well, we have two things that we are moving around daily, actually twice a day here on pasture on our grass. The first one is going to be our rabbits. We built a mobile tractor for these guys. So every day we move them up, they get fresh grass to munch on. We give them an organic pellet for them to kind of supplement that grass as well, and they grow out. Now these guys, we usually process at about the 14-week mark. They're very inexpensive because they're rabbits. They actually supplement a lot of their own feed here on the grass, and they meat out really well. We enjoy our meat rabbits. And a lot of people are a little squeamish because they think these guys are pets. Now we treat them exceptionally well. We hold them, we love on them because, well, we only want them to have one bad day their entire lives. And we get to be a part of that. We are very intimately knowledgeable about all our animals here. We make sure they are completely taken care of and well cared for their entire lives. And through that, nutritionally, they are taking care of us. So the other thing that we are moving around twice a day here on our backyard homestead are these guys right here. So we have these Red Rangers that we got from Hoover Hatchery this year that we are moving around in this mobile tractor. They are getting fresh grass twice a day, morning and night when we do our chores. And the purpose behind them is obviously they are a meat breed. We're not getting eggs from these guys. They're supposedly going to grow out at about 10 to 12 weeks, and we'll process those guys. Now, rather than keeping them confined in a small space that's stagnant, that doesn't move, they get moved around every single day, twice a day, just like the rabbits. And what they leave behind in their wake is a large amount of nitrogen that then goes back to feeding our grass. And as you can probably see when I show you, they leave behind a strip where they pretty much eat the grass up behind them. And what that does, you would think would kill your yard, but what it really does is it exposes seed bed, it invigorates the plant life behind it, and you actually get better looking grass and forages behind them than what they initially did. So you can see the strips they leave behind. But as you get further and further away from the days that they were on it, you see the grass replenishes itself. It looks nice and green, and that is going to be used to feed the next round of chickens when we come through, and it's going to be more nutritious, more healthy, and it's going to make our yard look that much better. Now, we are not going to win Yard of the Month. We are not going to have a clean, pristine, beautiful yard that you see in magazines, but what we are going to have is a productive yard. Now, how much do we produce here on our backyard homestead? Well, quite a bit actually. We have a dozen chickens that give us about a dozen eggs every single day. We have a garden that supplements a lot of our grocery store bill. We have rabbits that actually produce a whole lot of protein for us that we substitute in our meal plan as well. We process our own chickens, so we actually create and eat most of our own chicken without having to buy anything from the store or ordering out. Now, we do supplement a lot of our protein as far as pork and beef from outside sources, but we try to find companies that have a holistic approach of grass-finished beef and pastured pork, so that we are making sure that we are feeding ourselves the most nutritious food available out there, and trying to stay as far away from factory farming and those types of food processes as much as possible. So if you have seen any of our other videos, you're probably aware that I do things as inexpensive as possible. I try to repurpose, reuse, recycle things as much as I can, because I want to keep those costs down for myself, and I want to show you guys that things don't always have to be expensive. However, doing the things that we do, everything has a cost associated with it. So this is not the cheapest way to live your life. This is not dollar menu. This is a little bit more expensive. However, if you are going to buy these things from the farmer themselves, which is extremely important to know who you're getting your food from, things are going to have an associated cost. However, for the way we look at this is, for every dollar that we spend here is a dollar we're not going to have to spend in the future on our health care. Now, if you like our content, make sure you're subscribed. If you have any ideas or you want to know anything about some of the things that we're doing on this backyard homestead, leave a comment below, and we will see you on our next video. Thank you so much.